Okay, how's everybody doing today? Of course, my name is Kent, the channel Bitcoin Believer. Today is January 4th, 1:29 p.m. the afternoon here in Southern California, and I'm showing you the price of Bitcoin. And as I predicted yesterday, the price would come back. I mean, it dropped a couple $1,000s to 42,000, somewhere in that range. Today, it's come back. So I suggested yesterday was a buying day. If you would have bought a Bitcoin yesterday, you'd be up $2,000 today, which is a 3.7% return. So I want to talk a little bit why this is almost a guarantee. I mean, this is a no-brainer. And supposedly I did a little research yesterday about why the price dropped, and I guess some analyst had released some information about the fact that the Security and Exchange Commission was going to stall on the ETF, and they weren't going to prove it, and that a lot of people were buying into the FUD, but that was completely unfounded. That's just somebody going out there. They always say the old saying that. And by the way, I'm live. If you want to make a comment, I will put your comment on screen. We don't have a lot of people watching, so I can do that right now. I can throw comments on screen and we can talk about it. So if you want to say something and put it on screen, I'd be happy to hear what your point of view on this, on Bitcoin or whatever else you want to talk about. It doesn't really matter as long as it's about the economy, because I like talking about what's going on. Thank you for the thumbs up. The reason I like talking about what's going on with the economy, because it affects everybody. I mean, I have two sons that are trying to make it in this world. They have a poor job market. They both went to school. They're both educated. They both were student athletes. Both of my sons are wrestlers. If you follow me on this channel, you know that I've talked about them quite often. And, I worry about my children. I worry about the future they're going to have. I worry about what they're going to do. So, I try to study the economy as much as anybody. And the other thing too is I'm not going to put him up right now, but there's a guy called the Uneducated Economist, and he doesn't do any ads during his broadcasts, his lives. He doesn't push people to join his channel. He doesn't do any of that stuff. He just talks about the economy. And he really is literally the uneducated economist. He didn't go to school to be an economist. He didn't study it at university or, have any kind of, come up from a university family with professors. He's an ordinary guy working at a lumber yard who decided to study the economy because he was down and out a few years ago, said he was an alcoholic, had made a lot of financial mistakes. And because he had reached the end of his life, where he just felt like there was nothing to live for, he decided to start studying the economy, the economics, started reading the Fed papers, and become very interested in it. And now he has a YouTube channel with a few 100,000 subscribers. And the guy just is an ordinary everyday guy that learned this stuff by reading the papers closely, applying, his own logic to it, and by, educating himself as much as he could. And now I think he's the best person to listen to as far as the economy is concerned. And he's just an ordinary everyday person. That's what YouTube's about. YouTube's about the content creators that are real world people. They're not the Jim Cramers of the world. They're not the Mike Novogratzes of the world. They're not the Elon Musks of the world. They're the ordinary everyday people that are just trying to make it in this world. And they're trying to figure it out as well as they can with the limited information they have and the limited things we have, which today is pretty good because you got the internet and you got entire amounts of information to if you just want to take the time to sit down and realize it. There's no agenda. There's no agenda with me. I mean, I don't have an agenda for Bitcoin. The reason I'm talking about Bitcoin, I have a channel about Bitcoin, is because I see opportunity, and I see opportunity for people, to mainly get a break in this world. You're not getting a break from your job market. You're not getting a break from the inflation. You're not getting a break from getting a university degree and going out and trying to make enough money to pay all the debts you have to pay, rent, house, if you own, if you rent, if you buy a car, if you have to pay your student loans, all this stuff that you have to do. There's just not much available right now to get you out of that those kinds of predicaments. So that's why I follow this, and that's why I'm interested in it. So if you want to join in, I'd appreciate it, or have a comment. I'd like to hear what you have to say about it too. So as the title said, I can guarantee almost 100% the ETF's going to be done. And the reason I know it's going to be done, and I'm going to show you this in a second. And the first thing I want to talk about, the reason I know there will be an ETF, because there's aligned interests. Everybody's interest is aligned for this ETF. You have BlackRock, you have Cathie Woods, you have these major fund managers. They have an interest in this ETF getting approved by the Securities and Exchange Commission because they've raised a lot of money and they have a management fee. They're going to make a lot of fees on buying Bitcoin, which is a simple buy right now. Just, stash some Bitcoin or stash whatever it is, the Bitcoin or the ETF, the exchange traded fund, however they hold it. They actually hold the Bitcoin, or if they hold some contract on the Bitcoin, I don't know exactly how they're going to be set up. I guess we'd have to look at each one individually, but there's going to be fees. We know there's going to be fees. So the people, the major money managers in the world, they want it because there's fees. And also they need it because they need a place right now to get a return on money. The Magnificent Seven stocks, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, all these big tech stocks that have done so well, they're priced very high right now. So where do you put your money? There's like 7 stocks that have pretty much made this stock market go rally and get to the highs that it's at. The rest of the economy struggles and suffers. So they've got to find something else to pick up the slack of what's not being done in these other parts of the economy. And of course, everybody's focused on interest rates. And of course, we have an election year coming up and everything like that. So this is the one play I think that you've got that you could really make out on, which is the Bitcoin play right now. And of course, if you bought it a couple months ago at 30,000, you've done well already. You've already made 14,000 per Bitcoin. Depending on how many Bitcoin you own, that's $14,000 appreciation on every Bitcoin. But the interests are aligned. And the reason I say that is because the government wants it to happen, or the government's allowing this to happen, and the government actually wants it to happen. The reason the government wants it to happen is because there was a court case. And that's why SEC is being forced to allow this ETF to go through, because they were sued. They were sued by Grayscale, and we're going to go into that. I'm going to talk about that. So the government is saying, yes, the Securities and Exchange Commission, being a government entity, is going with the courts. They're allowing the courts to say, yes, if we have to do this, this is what our requirement, our mandate by the courts are. We're going to go ahead and do it. And it was a DC Court of Appeals, which is the second highest court in the country, only below the Supreme Court. The only thing they could do to appeal this case is go to the Supreme Court. And the Securities and Exchange Commission says, we're not appealing the case. We're accepting the DC Court of Appeals decision of saying that we have to allow the ETF. So that tells you right there, it's a done deal. So you got the fund managers, BlackRock, Cathie Woods, and whoever else is applying for, a ETF right now. They're going to make money. The investors are going to make money. And the government is saying we will allow it. Now you even got Jim Cramer from, he's been around forever. I remember when Jim Cramer first came out as a stock predictor. He was horrible. Everything it was in the 2000 tech boom. And everything he told you to buy went down. So, he's even capitulating. You only got people like Jamie Dimon and people like that, but they will eventually join in. They're going to be the counterparty to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is Bitcoin does not need banks. So obviously a guy like Jamie Dimon, who heads Chase Manhattan Bank, is going to be anti. Warren Buffett's going to be anti. But these people, that doesn't matter. Warren Buffett's been anti-technology since the 2000s. He's been wrong for the last 25 years. Why should we listen to Warren Buffett? Jamie Dimon, he's just a very rich banker. Why should we listen to him? They make a lot of money by being able to lend money that gets printed out of nothing. So why would he like Bitcoin? So these people are always going to be anti-Bitcoin. You have to look at what they're, what it is they're trying to protect, what it is they're trying to do, and factor that into what your decisions are making. But like I say, all the other decisions, everybody's aligned. The government's aligned. The investors are aligned, and the fund managers are aligned. All interests are aligned for Bitcoin to have an ETF. And let's go into this real quick, because I want to show you real quick. So here it is. We're only a few days away from what they project. It's going to be the 10th, I think. We're at the 4th right now. It's only a few days. So I'll pull up this article real quick. It says, the Securities and Exchange, SEC, has been backed into a corner on ETF approval, Bloomberg says. A go-ahead from the U.S. Securities and Exchange could trigger 10 billion inflows to the Bitcoin ETF in the first year, says Bloomberg and is Seyfried. The United States Security and Exchange Commission has been backed into a corner to approve a stop bot Bitcoin exchange traded fund, in the opinion of Bloomberg James Seifert during a private webinar. Okay, and I'm going to read what he says here. I'll go down here. He talks about Seifert refers to the latest developments following BlackRock's filing for the spot ETF. Since the SEC's officials have held dozens of meetings with asset managers for the approval, addressing the concerns and requesting. In addition, the regulators lost a court battle in August. So they lost a court battle with one of the firms in the race, which is Grayscale, over the conversion of its over-the-counter. Okay, so they lost the case. And here, I'll show you who they lost to right here. They lost to the United States Court of Appeals. So if it's the Court of Appeals, it means it was decided. They appealed it to the Court of Appeals, so now the Court of Appeals has to make a decision. Court of Appeals ruled against the Security and Exchange Commission. Now the only alternative after this is to go to the U.S. Supreme Court, because this is a federal district court. So here we have the United States Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit is a federal appeal court. The District of Columbia, okay, the highest court. Okay, that's not the one I want to read. There's only one court higher. Okay. The Supreme Court of the United States is the final level of appeal in the federal system. And that's the next step. But right here, it says in Reuters, the Security and Exchange does not plan to appeal the court decision on Grayscale BTF, sources say. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission will not appeal a recent court ruling that found that it was wrong to reject an application from Grayscale Investments to create a spot Bitcoin exchange. So they're not going to appeal. And even if they did appeal, the only body who would be able to hear the case is the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court has the ability to choose the cases they want to hear. And if they don't want to hear it, they're not going to hear it. So this wasn't a local state judge or state court that made this ruling. This is a very high level court. This is one of the highest courts in the country. Like I say, only the Supreme Court can overrule this court. You're not going to appeal this. They'd have to appeal it to the Supreme Court, and then the Supreme Court would have to decide if they want to hear the case. And then at that point, the chances of winning it probably aren't that great, in my opinion, especially if if it's gone through this month. I mean, I don't know where the case originally started at, but it ended up with the U.S. District Court in Washington, D.C. So this is a high-level court case. I believe it's pretty much guaranteeing you that the Security and Exchange Commission is not going to go against the courts. They're going to go ahead and allow this ETF to happen. And if they allow this ETF to happen, it's going to mean a massive amount of inflow of money into the Bitcoin ecosphere, into the Bitcoin space. There's going to be a massive amount of money. Now, what happens after that? I don't know. All I know is I'm going to be focused on the next few months, because we have two things going on. We have this massive amount of money sitting on the sidelines ready to involve the retail market, literally retail. I mean, we're wholesale right now. The only people buying Bitcoin right now have been the people we would consider wholesale, those people that are, familiar with the Bitcoin protocol. They're familiar with Bitcoin. They've been buying it for years. They're just kind of a small community, but it's built a, sizable amount of, it's up to almost $1 trillion in market cap. But I would say that the typical person does not understand Bitcoin or even been involved with Bitcoin. And now that's all going to change. When you got Jim Cramer, you've got BlackRock, and you've got people. I mean, there are literally people that they're wealthy, that just throw their money at funds managers and say, make me some money. And those people now are going to be buying Bitcoin, and even if they don't understand it. Let's just say, for argument, let's say I'm a heart doctor. I'm a surgeon. I'm doing heart procedures all day long. Do I want to sit down and figure out Bitcoin? Do I want to figure out, especially when you got stuff like FTX going on, do I want to sit down and understand, where to put my money, which exchange to buy it on, if I should custody or not custody my own Bitcoin? You've seen so many go, we've seen a lot of exchanges go away, Voyager, You've seen Mt. Gox, you've seen FTX, you've seen all this stuff. It's all been in the news and media. So I'm operating on hearts all day long. I'm not going to figure out Bitcoin, but if I have my money with a fund, and I trust that fund because that fund's being regulated by the Securities and Exchange Commission, it's guaranteed by the FDIC. There's going to be some there's going to be some protocol that has to be involved as far as keeping an eye on those people that are taking care of my money, and there's going to be some liability there. So if they want to buy Bitcoin from my 401k or from my investments, I'm going to go ahead and say, yeah, why not? So those people, the guy that's the heart surgeon, the guy that's a farmer that's out there all day long taking care of crop or taking care of his whatever, fixing equipment, doing whatever. Yeah, he's not got time to sit here and figure out Bitcoin. I mean, all he hears is negative stuff anyway, so why should he even bother with it? He's all he hears. And on top of that, we're not even at all-time highs. We're way off all-time highs. All-time highs are like 69,000. So it's not even like right now anybody thinks it's anything that's has any kind of it's any kind of urgency about this thing. But this will happen. And like I say, I will continue doing these lives because I think this is a very pivotal time. And I'm interested in helping people find a little bit more out about this. And, if you can listen to me, I'm got a few thousand subscribers, and I've got literally no sponsor or literally nothing except my own belief system here that's telling you what I believe. Telling you this, I mean, I'm not trying to push you one way or another because I'm going to make a commission from it, or I'm going to make some money from it, because I won't. The only thing would be, how many people watch this video, which I don't promote that even. I don't even care. If you want to watch the video, I appreciate it. If you don't want to watch the video, I understand. And I don't even ask people for that. Just, the only thing I ask for is that, hey, just keep an open mind about Bitcoin. I think it's an opportunity. It's worked out well for a lot of people, and I think it'll work out well for you if you, just pay attention to what's going on, which is, like I say, the aligned interest in what's happening with ETFs. And of course, even if the ETFs don't go through on January 10th, they're bound to go through very soon. They've got another window opened up in, I think, March, where they have an opportunity to go through. I'm not sure exactly how that would all work out, but they will probably get done sometime very soon. And then the second thing is we have something called the halving. Every 4 years, the Bitcoin rewards get cut in half, which means there's half as much Bitcoin being created as there was in the previous 4 years. That means it's deflationary. It continues to get more and more valuable as time goes on, simply because every 4 years the rewards are halved. Typically, Bitcoin has always done well during that period of time, always. So we have really literally, the combo going on here that is unbeatable. We've got retail market ETF about ready to happen. That's been trying to happen for the last, my video was about that yesterday. It's been trying to happen for the last 10 years with the Winklevoss twins, or Winklevoss, however you pronounce their name. And then here lately with Grayscale having to sue to get the Securities and Exchange Commission to do it again. And then on top of that, we have the halving coming up, which means the rewards will be cut in half. So we got a lot of great things going on. And I think this is, if you're looking for some way, to beat this 10% inflation that we're working under in this world, Bitcoin went up 3.7% in one day. So, at a 10% inflation rate, you just got, a third of it knocked out yesterday if you owned at 42,000. So I think that's about what's going to happen here in the future. Let me see if I got one thumbs up. If anybody wants to ask a question, this would be a perfect opportunity. I try to keep these more consistent because I think people, when you come on live like this, and I don't announce it ahead of time, I hate it when people do this countdown for their live. I mean, I understand that that's a good way of letting people know it's going to happen, but you'll go there and it's like, you want to watch the video and it's not even happening yet because they're still counting down to when it's going to happen. I think the best way to do it is just to try to be consistent when you do it. And of course, I've only been doing these for a few days here. I started 2nd of January, 2nd, 3rd. This is about my 3rd or 4th live, but I'll try to continue to do it pretty much every day. especially until we get the ETF and until we get the halving, because I think there's going to be some big, I could see real easily hitting 50, 60,000 within the next few weeks, next couple months, for sure. Probably by the time the halving comes around, we're going to be getting close to the 60,000s. So yeah, that would be very nice. From 44 to 60, that would be a nice appreciation. So I've got one thumbs up. I really appreciate that. And if, like I said, if anybody has a question, I'd like to hear your question. If you don't have a question, then we'll sign off. And that's the reason I do these videos. I do these videos for you to participate, not for me to run an ad, not for me to tell you about a sponsor, not for me to sit here and babble on about you need to subscribe and all of the stuff people do every time you watch a video. I do this because I want to hear what you have to say, and because I enjoy doing it, because I like it, and it pushes me to learn more about it too. So, oh, thanks, Lenny. I've been trying to get somebody to comment, and finally Lenny comes through for me. Thanks, Lenny. Okay, man. I appreciate it. I was getting to the point there with that. Wow, man, I had about 5 or 6 comments yesterday, and today none. So Lenny says, thanks, Ken. I appreciate it. Well, thanks, Lenny. I appreciate you too. Oh, we got somebody else too. Oh, we got my good friend, D1360. Thanks. I appreciate it too. Yeah, I'm here learning. Thank you. I appreciate that. We're all learning. I'm learning too, man. I'll tell you, when I started out with Bitcoin, I was like, this is the biggest. I mean, my son told me about Bitcoin. Well, I'll tell you the story since I got a little time here. So, you know, obviously, there's been a couple of ways in this world to make money, and one of the ways, and I learned this when I went to college at the University of Nebraska in Omaha. I got out of college and had read a book called Nothing Down. I can't remember what the name of the author was, but the guy's name was Nothing. It was Nothing Down was the name of the book. I can't remember who the author was, but it was literally buying real estate. And I was going to become a real estate investor. That was my thing about the world. I was going to, and that would have been if I'd have done that in the early 80s, just bought real estate, man, I would have done so well. But I was in a very small rural area, and I got back from university, and there was a little apartment complex for sale. And it was a fourplex built in the 1930s. I mean, horrible wiring, everything was wrong with it. It was it was a real fixer-upper. But it was cheap. It was $25,000. Can you imagine buying a fourplex apartment building for $25,000? And that was the price. This is 1982, 1983. So my mom had always told me, a couple of things I'll never forget. My mom was pretty sharp financially. My mom told me, you always need a place to live. Her thing was buy real estate. You'll never go wrong buying real estate because everybody needs a place to live. Not commercial real estate, but homes. That was her thing. And, hey, everybody needs a place to live. And of course, my mom was real against renting because her parents had always rented. Actually, my grandfather worked for a sugar factory, and he was given housing through the factory. But then when he retired, they gave him the opportunity to buy the building. So it was a threeplex, and for $5,000, if you can imagine that. So when he retired in like 71 or 72, they said, hey, if you want to buy the building you've lived in for the last 30 years as an employee for our sugar factory, we'll go ahead and sell it to you. And he didn't do it. And my mom was so mad at him because she said that would have been a steal at $5,000. They gave him a great deal because he'd worked for the company, and they'd give him first option to buy the building. He didn't do it. And that always bothered my mom that my grandfather didn't buy this threeplex for $5,000. So my mom always told me, don't rent, buy. That was her thing. That was my mom's message to me, always buy. So when I got out of school, I decided to buy a little apartment building. And of course, unfortunately, the book Nothing Down told you how you could buy real estate without any money, but it didn't tell you that you need to buy real estate in a community that is prosperous and where the real estate appreciates. So in about 10 years, when I decided that I was going to move on and leave the small community we grew up in, guess what? The thing, and it barely appreciated. I mean, it was almost no money in the 10 years that we owned it. And we sold it for a little bit more than we paid for it. Hardly any appreciation at all because I had bought it in the wrong area. I bought it in an area that didn't have any jobs or anything. So it was a wash. was kind of bought and sold. Yeah, we collected some rents, but the rents always went back to repair the building, so there was nothing there. So then when we moved out here to Southern California, I realized, wow, out here real estate really appreciates. Man, you buy a piece of property out here, and a year later, it's worth more money and more money, more. So I was trying to buy what I thought was a really good deal. It was a piece of property down here along the coast. It was in Oceanside, California. It was a few blocks to the beach, and it was really under the market. This is about 2014, 2015. And I didn't have the money, and I went to my son and I said, well, what do you got? Because I had to show some sort of a good faith payment, down payment. So I went to him and I said, you got any money? I need to make an offer on this building. And if you got some money, let's try to pull it together and see if we can buy this thing. Because I think in a year or two, it'd be worth more money. Even if we don't sell it, it's going to do better than about anything else you can do with your money. So I went to him and he had a little bit of money. It wasn't a lot. It was a few thousand, maybe $20,000. Not enough to buy the place, but just enough to put a little bit of money down on the place so we could at least get a loan. So, he showed me the money and he showed me where he had it and showed how much it was. And I looked at it and I said, well, that's a nice start, but it's not going to get us very far. But let me go ahead and see if I can make an offer. So I think I needed a certain amount of money to make an offer. I can't remember how much it was. But anyway, during that time, and he owned Bitcoin. And during that time that I was looking at this, I needed to make the offer. And the time I was trying to come up with the money to make the offer, his Bitcoin account exploded. And when I saw that, and I knew it was legitimate because I saw the account, and when I saw it go from this to that in that short period of time, I all of a sudden totally forgot about all the things all the skepticism, everything that I thought possibly Bitcoin could be as far as illegitimate, and it just disappeared. When I saw his money go from a few thousand to quite a few thousand, I don't remember exact figures at this time, but it went up enough money that I was able to make an offer on that building, and I didn't get the building. In fact, what I did is I made a full price offer, but of course, if you're buying real estate in Southern California, full price isn't going to cut it. People are going to offer more than full price. And that's what happened. I was second in line. I didn't get the building, but that told me how much Bitcoin could go up in a short period of time. When I saw how much he had made in such a short period of time and it was legitimate, then I decided, hey man, this is crazy. When I saw that happen, I forgot about buying buildings and started buying Bitcoin. I said, I'm not going to buy any more real estate. Real estate's a pain in the neck. I mean, you got to rent the thing out. You got to take care of the roof. You got to take care of the paint. You got to take care of, you got tenants to come and go. I said, that's a nightmare. I don't want to deal with that stuff anymore. I want to deal straight with something that is easy to own, which is Bitcoin. So yeah, that's how I got involved with Bitcoin. I saw that one, and it was literally, my son showing me transparency. This is what I made in a few months owning Bitcoin. And it was one of those periods of time. I can't exactly remember when. I just remember the circumstances, but I just remember, man, it just took off. And of course, it went back down too. I bought Bitcoin at $55,000. So, and that hurts too, thanks to Sam Bankman-Fried and all his, fraudulent activities, and we traded that way for a long time. So yeah, I've got hammered on Bitcoin too. I've lost a lot of money on Bitcoin. So yeah, it's been up and it's been down and it's been sideways and but I think if you're in there for a period of time and you hang on, you're going to do very well. I just think this is one of the opportunities. That's just my belief system. So anyway, D1360 learning. Okay. Yes. I'm going to bring up this comment too. So it says here in Chile, oh wow, you're in Chile. Here in Chile, you can invest in a comfort real estate for a family of 3 or 400K. Wow, man. That's why people are leaving the United States. You know what 100K would buy you in Carlsbad, California? It'd buy you a garage door. I'm exaggerating. For 100K, you wouldn't touch anything in Southern California. I think I remember, and this has been quite a few years ago, there was if you looked at the entire housing market in Southern California, San Diego exclusively, there were like 3 houses that, I mean, I'm talking about single family homes, not talking about condos or things like that. Single family, there were like 3 houses left less than $500,000. So 500,000. I mean, you got millions and millions of people living in Southern California. I don't know how many houses you have, but you have a lot, thousands and thousands and thousands of houses. There were 3 below 500,000. And I doubt today you even find one below 100,000, 500,000. In Southern California, to buy anything of any substantial, anything that has any substantialness to it, something you want to live in, something that you're, would be in a decent location, not a crime-ridden location, something that has, a nice, yard, or your minimum $1 million, minimum $1 million. And if you really want to get to a home you can live in, you're probably talking about 2 million. Maybe not quite that much, maybe $1.2 million, $1.3 million, but basic. I mean, I'm talking coastal too. I'm not talking, if you want to go to we have inland, if you want to go to Escondido, if you want to go to Temecula, you want to go to those, but you're going to talk, if you go to those areas, you're looking at 100-degree temperatures in the summertime. If you stay close to the coast, your temperatures are always going to be pretty moderate. In fact, I was watching the Rose Bowl with Michigan and Alabama, and that had to be the best commercial for Southern California, because I'm looking at the map in the rest of the world, and it's 35, 40 degrees in the Midwest, and all of a sudden you're watching this football game, and everybody's in short sleeves, and the grass is green, the trees are all green, and everybody's looking like it's midsummer. So that's what it is. That's why you pay $1 million for a home out here, because you have summertime year round. Although when you get to be my age, and you get used to the weather, it is just as cold as you think seems. But I don't know. I haven't been to the Midwest in a long time in wintertime, so I don't know how I'd fare. Occasionally, I miss a thunderstorm. We don't get much weather out here. We get a little bit of wind, we get a little bit of rain, but we never get like lightning. We do get the lightning strikes occasionally, but very rarely. But you don't ever get those real intense thunderstorms. When I was a kid, it was kind of fun to watch a thunderstorm. It wasn't fun if you had a field of crop that got hailed out, but just to feel that power of that storm was kind of fun. So yeah, that's what it is. So let's see. That's incredible that you could buy a 3 to 4 fam. I'll have to check that out, man. It's comfortable. Yeah. So comfortable. Yeah. So, one of the places, I mean, I don't have the money, but, if you have a lot of money in Bitcoin, you could go down and get citizenship in El Salvador. And I don't know what the house prices are in El Salvador, but that would be another thing. It'd be nice to go to El Salvador and live in El Salvador, because they're basing their economy on Bitcoin. So this stuff is all good stuff. So yeah, there's a lot of things going on. So I appreciate the comments. I've been going on here for a while. Let's see how long we got to go. Yeah, about 33 minutes, 34 minutes. So I'm going to sign off. I appreciate you guys for coming on and giving me a little bit of information, or a little bit of things to talk about. And that's very interesting that you're in Chile. I'll have to check that out. That's way down there, man. You're way down in the South America, down in Chile. So they're very interesting. So if anybody has anything else, I'll wait for a second here. In the meantime, I'm going to sign off and see what happens tomorrow. Like I say, we're at the 4th. We got the 10th is what they're talking as far as the ETF is concerned. But how's the economy in Chile? Is the economy good in Chile? Are you guys, you're not suffering anything like they're doing in Argentina, are you? Yep. How is give me, here, let's pull up Chile. I have to look at it on a map now. Is that how you spell it? There's Chile. Let's go map of Chile. No, they give me Southern California. Where's Chile at? Chile's clear down in South America. There's Tijuana. Wow, you're clear down here. Well, yeah, you guys are real close to Argentina. You're right up, you border Argentina. So you got all the coast. Argentina's inland. Wow, that's a long country. That starts from clear down here. Are you close to San Diego or San Diego? Santiago. That's how you say that. So anyway, well, we can talk about it later. It's just interesting. I'm just that's curious to me. Yeah, that's a long way south. So, well, I'll check it out. I'll do some research on Chile because I'm kind of interested in. I love maps and I love geography. It's one of the few things that I can sit around and watch YouTube videos on geography all day long. I just find it very interesting. So, anyway, I appreciate everybody's coming up, and we will talk some more about Bitcoin. We will talk some more about the ETF, and we'll talk some more about the halving in the next few days. I appreciate you. I appreciate you joining in. Thank you very much.